A restaurant in the Annex struck by gunfire, bullets shattering the building's window. Police confirm the business was closed at the time. Good evening. Police are investigating after shots were fired at a popular Michelin Guide restaurant late last night.
There were no injuries, but residents of the area say they're shaken. CTV's Mike Walker is live at the scene tonight with the details. Mike.
Well, Michelle and Nathan, it was late last night when someone fired multiple shots at the front windows of Mimi Chinese. Management called this a senseless and random act of violence. Bullets shattering the front windows of Mimi Chinese late last night. Police have marked at least 8 bullet holes in the restaurant's windows.
And I heard a big bang, and I heard a lot of people yelling and screaming out there by Mimi. I saw a lot of people like scrambling and getting out of here.
Police say the restaurant on Davenport near Bedford was closed when shots were fired at it just before 11:30 last night. They say no one was injured.
I was coming up Davenport Road, and all the police were coming up. The sirens were really loud.
Carrie lives in the area and was walking her dog nearby along Davenport when bullets flew.
Dangerous. I could have been walking on that side of the road.
This afternoon, crews were replacing the shattered windows. Management declined an interview, but shared a statement with CTV News that reads in part, "Our beloved neighborhood restaurant was the target of a senseless and random act of violence. We are incredibly grateful that no one was hurt, as we were closed at the time and no one was inside." This is a popular restaurant. It's listed on the Michelin Guide. At this point, the motive isn't clear.
Usually we're pretty calm in this area, and we're filled with a lot of nice restaurants, so it's a shame to see something like this go down.
Police also haven't revealed any details about the suspect. Investigators have been canvassing the area for witnesses and surveillance video, leaving this notice at nearby homes, reading they are looking for video of a man wearing a black sweater with white writing and a black Mercedes sedan.
Pretty not ideal.
Aaron works at a neighboring business.
I feel like if they were doing it late at night, then it probably wasn't, they weren't targeting somebody specific. Sucks to hear, like, it's a nice neighborhood.
Despite being targeted by gunfire, management says the restaurant is opening tonight as planned. And management add that they are fully cooperating with police. Investigators are still appealing for anyone with information to come forward. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. Peel police are trying to identify a motorcyclist who injured an officer in a hit and run in Mississauga. Investigators have released this picture of the suspect. They say the rider was involved in a collision with a marked cruiser in the Erin Mills Parkway at Eglinton West area around 8 last night. The motorcyclist then allegedly struck the officer before leaving the scene. The officer was taken to hospital with serious injuries, but is expected to recover. Anyone with information is asked to come forward.
The SIU says a 25-year-old man is seriously injured after a crash just north of Coburg overnight. It happened just after midnight. The police watchdog says an OPP cruiser attempted to pull over a driver who was speeding in a black SUV on Highway 45. The SIU was later involved in a single-vehicle crash in the Fenella area. The driver was taken to hospital, and the SIU is investigating the circumstances surrounding this crash.
A speed camera that's been vandalized 5 times in the past 6 months has returned.
The camera at Parkside Drive is back up and running once again, this time with its own surveillance camera to monitor it. CTV's Beth McDonnell is live with the latest on this saga. Beth.
Yes, Michelle, the saga continues here on Parkside Drive, and its speed enforcement camera, you can see it behind me. It is back up and running, but nearby there's another camera doing surveillance, watching over the camera to deter vandals. Parkside Drive's speed enforcement camera is back up once again on its pedestal, ready to catch speeding drivers. And this time, there's an extra set of eyes watching over it to deter troublemakers.
It's terrible. I hope this time it will work, yeah?
In May, the speed camera was vandalized for the 5th time in 7 months. As the new one went into service this week, Toronto Hydro says this nearby surveillance camera was also installed at the request of Transportation Services for Toronto Police.
Well, hopefully the eye in the sky is now going to help.
Geneviève Lacroix is with an advocacy group focused on safety along Parkside. She says when the speed camera is working, she sees a change in how people drive. But once they drive past it, speeds increase. She believes the speed camera should only be a temporary solution.
For whatever little impact that it has, we like to have it. What we would like to see is a complete redesign of the street, which would then solve all issues.
The speed limit on Parkside is 40 kilometers an hour. And even with the camera back up, we captured several people driving over 50. In 2021, the road was in the spotlight after a devastating chain reaction crash, killing a couple. Of all the enforcement machines, this location is the biggest revenue generator in the city, garnering 66,000 tickets and more than $7 million in fines.
I don't know, it's a cat and mouse game, but I think it's good. I honestly think it's good to keep the neighborhood safe.
There are a number of people at night who roar around. I don't know why they're tearing it down. I mean, they're just going to keep putting it back up.
While some welcome the extra eyes to ensure the speed camera works.
Good idea. I don't know why they didn't do it before.
Do you think it'll work? Hopefully,
no.
Because no, even with a little 6-year-old, they still go through.
And there are those who see two sides.
I can understand the need, especially in a neighborhood where there's lots of dogs, there's lots of children, but I can also see the side of people not wanting to have cameras everywhere in their neighborhood.
Only time will tell if the new surveillance camera will be enough to protect the speed camera from further destruction. Safe Parkside says it understands motorists are frustrated getting around the city, but wants people to drive safely because lives are at stake. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. Also tonight, Rat Patrol. The City of Toronto considers dropping $500,000 to battle a growing rat infestation problem. The so-called Rat Response Plan coming up.
But first, we turn our attention to the forecast. Look at that cool place to hang out, right in the O in Toronto. Yes, we are into July now, and there is plenty of heat and humidity. We've had our eye on the sky for the chance of stormy weather, but I'm seeing beautiful conditions out there at Nathan Phillips Square this hour. Great for maybe taking a nap there. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at the specifics. Lindsay.
A nap or a very cool picture, Michelle. Yeah, step aside here so you can see not everyone's seeing active weather right now, but we have had a few thunderstorms rumble through. Right now, we're experiencing that around Bowmanville, over toward Port Hope, the Sunderland area, and even around Newmarket. There's a little bit of a cell. We're also tracking the potential for thunderstorm activity across southwestern Ontario. That's one of the areas under a severe thunderstorm watch. Winds are starting to pick up in strength. They've been coming out of the west and the southwest, close to about 50 kilometers per hour. In fact, right now, it is still 30 degrees at Pearson Airport. It feels like 34. A little bit cooler along the lakeshore, but yeah, it's a warm summer July day. And through the night tonight, we're forecasting a low of 18 degrees. Another hot one tomorrow, less humid. And we'll talk about what time of day we have the best chance of showers. That's coming up. For now, though, Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, it's been a great beach day, a fabulous way to beat the summer heat and cool down. But E. coli levels are draining the fun at one shoreline.
There's a warning in effect at one Etobicoke beach that's kept many on dry land. CTV Sean Leathong is live at Marie Curtis Park with more. Sean.
Well, Nathan and Michelle, if this warning is in effect, it is in fact. That's not really deterring a lot of people. You can see behind me, many people have actually gone in the water. You heard Lindsay say it's a little cooler along the lakeshore. I'd like to know what it's like in the rest of the city because it's very warm here and many people are ignoring the flag and going right in the water.
While it may seem like a good day to hit the beach, here at Marie Curtis Park in Etobicoke, the red flag is flying. That means water quality issues and swimming is not advised.
I would actually love to get into the water at one point, but lately it's been just not inviting.
According to the City of Toronto, recent heavy rainfall have caused E. coli levels to rise along this part of beach, with lifeguards giving a warning to anyone entering the water, though not all took the advice.
I went water 2 times. It's pretty good, but I feel something like fish.
And on this hot day, some just packed up and left.
We'll just go home, stay inside with the air condition and lots of water.
Planning a beach day has created some disappointment for Maria Gutierrez.
It's a little sad. You know, you have this expectation of coming to the water, bringing the kids to the water, and then you can't.
Water quality is checked daily, and of the city's 10 beaches, 9 are marked safe for swimming, with Sunnyside being upgraded this afternoon. But not far away from the beach, Marie Curtis Park has a splash pad.
It's a good thing that this area has like a backup plan.
We're here, we're in the sun, we're in the trees, we got some water here, and that's it. We're enjoying.
Love it. It's the best. We live just around the corner.
It feels hot.
And while many are splashing around, some don't want to go all the way.
Oh, I don't want to get wet.
Don't want to get wet?
No.
And despite temperatures nearing 30 degrees, 8-year-old Bianca says the water is too much.
It was so cold that I couldn't feel my feet.
A good problem to have on a day like today.
So the warning is actually based on a water check that was done yesterday. They say that people should typically wait about 48 hours after a heavy rainfall to go swimming in an area like this because of those concerns. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leethong. Nathan Michelle, send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. And still ahead, new legislation to protect Ontario's gig workers kicks in, driving new wage standards. But does the pay raise go far enough? Advocates and workers weigh in.
We're hearing it could cost more than $500,000 to tackle a growing rat problem in the city of Toronto. That's the price tag attached to a so-called rat response plan. The plan's been in the works for more than a year, and it comes after complaints about a growing number of rats in some neighborhoods because of construction. A council committee is being told 2 new licensing and standards staff will be needed at a cost of more than $350,000, and another $150,000 will be needed each year for training and communication. The proposal goes to the Economic and Development Committee next Wednesday.
A chaotic scene in Oakville on Canada Day. Halton police say some groups of young people set off fireworks on Bronte Road, but they were quickly dispersed. A command post had been set up earlier in the day, and there was a large police presence in the area all evening. No injuries were reported, but one person was arrested.
The OPP laid several stunt driving charges over the Canada Day holiday. An 18-year-old from Oakville was clocked doing 214 kilometers per hour on the QEW, more than double the speed limit. Police say he also tried to race an OPP officer. His license was suspended for 30 days, and the car, which belongs to his dad, has been impounded for 2 weeks. The 18-year-old faces 18 charges.
Toronto police have launched this year's Youth in Policing program,
giving teens a behind-the-scenes look at various divisions and what goes on into wearing the badge. CTV's John Musselman reports.
All of these local high school students are well on their way towards careers in law enforcement, and today they were officially welcomed as members of the Youth in Policing Initiative program.
I'm really excited for this opportunity because I feel like this is like another step to reach the goal that I have planned.
And I'm pushing my daughter all the way. She have experience with working before with the city, with the wading pool and whatever. Now it's a bigger step for her.
It's a summer program where they will be working at various police units and at neighborhood police divisions.
We truly believe that the skills the students gain as part of the program will benefit them throughout their lives. And in fact, we have 45 former program graduates have joined us at the Toronto Police Service.
The Youth in Policing Initiative is part of the Government of Ontario's Youth Opportunity Strategy.
I had a dream. I believe, like when I was young, I always wished I was a police officer when I grew up, you know?
A great bridge between the police and the youth and the community, right? And I'm so happy that my son is a part of it.
To become a police officer or whatever, but anyways, whatever he wants to be, I'm still very, very proud of it.
I feel great. Why? It feels good. I always wanted to become an officer. I've always liked getting outdoors and doing stuff.
It's a big accomplishment. It's his first job, so that's a big deal. And it's for the police, Toronto Police. We're happy for him.
I feel like very honored. I feel excited as well. And I'm looking forward to like all the events and stuff.
I'm so happy for my daughter is going to join in this program. So I'm so glad, I'm so happy for this.
The students range in age from 15 to 18 years old. They represent 31 neighborhoods throughout the city. John Musselman, CTV News.
New legislation aimed at making sure so-called gig workers make at least minimum wage has kicked in.
But as CTV's Allison Hurst reports, rideshare drivers say it doesn't come close to providing a minimum wage.
Rafael Rowe has been an Uber driver for 9 years and says the gig has gotten harder.
We are at the bottom.
We are barely making it as time goes by.
With so many drivers, he says there are long waits between rides.
25, 40 minutes, it varies from time to time.
Those wait times are not covered under the province's new legislation. The Digital Platform Workers' Rights Act requires companies pay workers minimum wage, $17.20 an hour, but only when they're engaged for a ride or delivery.
The gig kind of companies largely got what they wanted out of this legislation.
This legislation also allows workers to file complaints with the ministry and includes fines. For corporations, $15,000 for first offense and up to $50,000 for a third or subsequent offense within 3 years. For individuals, it's $250 for the first offense and up to $1,000 for repeated violations.
The government has always been in a position to proactively deal with gig companies, and they haven't done so.
The Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development states it's the first legislation of its kind to establish new enforceable rights and core protections. But advocates say it's missed the mark, having also not dealt with algorithmic pricing and pay.
Uber has introduced something called upfront fares, upfront pricing, and these fares are determined by Uber's algorithms. And what that does is it basically creates a black box, and no one has any idea of how these fares and how wages and pay are being determined.
For Rowe, the legislation should have gone further.
Most of us who is doing this type of work here are the guys that are left behind. We can't get another job. Nobody's going to hire minorities. When you look and see people who are really doing the gig workers, are just minority people.
It took effect on July 1st. Allison Hurst, CTV News.
WSIB workers brought their picket lines to Union Station today. Union members and frontline Workplace Safety and Insurance Board staff were outside the station earlier this afternoon. The Ontario Compensation Employees Union is calling on the WSIB to return to the bargaining table. The union says wages and workload are among the biggest points of contention in the talks.
We're here today to support our strike because we've been on strike for 7 weeks now. We're here to support the injured workers of Ontario. We're very important to this most vulnerable part of our society, and the WSIB executives don't feel that's the case. We feel that we've been providing the level of service the best we can, but we've been determined, like they've reduced our training, they've reduced the amount of staff, then our workloads increase.
About 4,000 workers launched a full strike on May 22nd after engaging in rolling walkouts.
The importance of trade talks with the U.S. is coming into sharper focus as the countdown is on to reach a deal by July 21st.
Today, the Prime Minister sat down with top industry executives focusing on Canada's auto sector. CTV senior political correspondent Mike Lecouteur has the details.
Inside the Prime Minister's office, Mark Carney huddled for an hour with the Canadian CEOs of GM, Ford, Stellantis, and the Canadian Vehicle Manufacturers Association. When it was done, François-Philippe Champagne said little about the discussion.
We had a very good meeting talking about the industry, and we've been very, very clear. We're always going to be there to support the workers and the industry.
He refused to say whether or not the federal government will keep the electric vehicle mandate. By next year, 20% of new passenger vehicles sold in Canada must be either battery-powered or hybrid. It was something car makers clearly wanted to discuss ahead of the meeting.
EV mandate itself is not sustainable. The targets that have been established cannot be met, and that will be part of the discussion.
Those in the industry say EVs currently account for 9% of total sales. And if they fall short, Flavio Volpe says it's the car companies that pay.
To sell regular combustion units, they've got to buy a credit from some company that's earned it or spend $20,000 per unit on charging infrastructure.
On top of that, those same car companies continue to deal with 25% tariffs from the U.S. Now, there is a carve-out for components that are built in America through the integrated supply chain. Still, Canadian auto exports in the U.S. fell by 23% in April.
They make 6 or 7% a year of profit. If there is a tariff in for 5, 10, 25%, it makes those operations untenable.
According to a readout from the Prime Minister's office, the meeting also looked at ways to make Canada's auto sector more sustainable and competitive in the face of shifting trading relationships, something that could be more urgent if Canada isn't able to strike a trade deal with the U.S. in the next 19 days. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Wildfires continue to burn in several provinces across the country. There are about 465 active blazes in Canada right now. In Alberta, crews are battling over 67 wildfires, 18 of them designated as out of control. The BC Wildfire Service says there are more than 70 blazes in that province, with one intense wildfire near the community of Lytton. A local state of emergency has been issued as well as several evacuation orders are in effect. In Yukon, the government has lifted an evacuation alert for the area surrounding Ethel Lake, which is about a 4-hour drive north of Whitehorse.
A judge has denied music mogul Sean Diddy Combs' request to be released on bail after a bombshell verdict today. The music icon was acquitted of the more serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering, but convicted of prostitution-related offenses. CTV's Adrian Gobriel reports.
Waving and smiling, the Combs family exited this New York City federal court as protesters came face to face with supporters of Sean Diddy Combs, emotions running at a fever pitch just moments after the jury delivered their split verdict. Delivered on the third day of deliberations, the jury of 8 men and 4 women declared the 55-year-old Combs not guilty of 1 count of racketeering, conspiracy, and 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, but guilty of the lesser charges of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Combs, who's already been incarcerated for 10 months, could still face considerable prison time. At sentencing, each of the prostitution transportation charges carry as much as 10 years behind bars. While Combs' lawyer declined to comment, multiple criminal law experts are declaring today a victory for the former hip-hop mogul.
It's absolutely a win. The defense took a really big gamble going to trial on this case.
The prosecution called 34 witnesses to the stand, multiple ex-girlfriends, including singer Cassie Ventura, who claimed that Combs forced her to engage in sexual encounters called, quote, freak-offs and hotel nights. Jurors watched this 2016 hotel video of Combs dragging and kicking her. Ventura's lawyer stopped short of calling today a victory for his client.
We're pleased that he's finally been held responsible for 2 federal crimes, something that he's never faced in his life. He still faces substantial jail time. Of course, we would have liked to have seen a conviction on the sex crimes in RICO, but we understand beyond a reasonable doubt is a high standard.
With this decision, Combs avoids a possible life sentence. Moments after the verdict was read out, his family began to cheer in the courtroom as the one-time music star appeared to fall to his knees in prayer. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Washington.
An Australian domestic flight was delayed for 2 hours after a stowaway snake was found in the plane's cargo hold. The snake was discovered yesterday as passengers were boarding a flight in Melbourne. The 60-centimeter green tree snake was hidden behind a panel and could have disappeared deeper into the plane, but a snake catcher managed to capture it before that could happen. It's believed the snake came aboard inside some passenger luggage and escaped during a flight from Brisbane. And while it's very long and perhaps scary, the snake is considered harmless.
Coming up, first place in the American League East on the line as the Blue Jays host the Yankees at Rogers Center tonight. A preview coming up.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, many of us send e-transfers every day without any problems, but a woman trying to pay for a condo in Mexico was shocked when her e-transfer was intercepted. She was even more surprised to learn the money is gone for good. I'll have my reports. That's just ahead.
Well, so far the Atlantic hurricane season has been pretty quiet. It's a bit of a different story for the Eastern Pacific. This is Hurricane Flossie. It is the 6th named storm on this side of Mexico, and it is expected to continue to sideswipe the country, but the Category 2 hurricane, it will remain offshore. We're tracking a few thunderstorms for the east end of the GTA. We'll bring you up to speed on those coming up. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
Almost 90% of Canadians use e-transfers to send money, with more than 1 billion transactions happening each year.
Sending money this way is considered very safe, but criminals are finding ways to hack into email accounts to steal your money. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. A woman was trying to pay for a condo rental and sent almost $3,500 to someone. Even though she had the correct email address, criminals hacked the email account of the receiver and redirected the money.
Everybody just keeps telling me it's not their responsibility, and too bad for me.
Tracy Burrill of Oshawa recently retired and decided to take a trip with her husband this past March. A person in Saskatchewan had a condo for rent in Mexico and asked Burrill to send her almost $3,500. Burrill checked the email address and e-transferred the funds.
This was sent to the right email, and she didn't get it. Somebody else's, the money's gone.
The receiver did not have auto deposit set up, and Burrill says she unfortunately used a security question that was easy to guess. But she had no idea hacking an e-transfer was possible.
I got a phone call from the bank that said that the money had been intercepted by another email.
Burrill did get her vacation, but had to pay for the trip twice.
I had to pay it again.
When we reached out to Interac, a spokesperson said, if an individual does not have Interac e-transfer auto deposits set up, we recommend selecting security questions with answers that are not easily guessable or based on publicly available information.
E-transfer fraud is one of the fastest growing financial crimes in Canada.
Francis Sims, a cybersecurity expert at Humber College, says while auto deposit is not fail-safe, it's one of the best ways to make sure your e-transfer gets to where it's supposed to go.
Auto deposit helps a lot because then if somebody's email account was compromised, well, what happens is as soon as the e-transfer is sent, it automatically goes into the bank account that's associated with that particular email.
Auto deposit is secure and convenient, helps protect against email fraud, verifies transactions are sent to the intended recipient, and the money is automatically deposited without security questions. As for Burrill, the theft has her reconsidering using e-transfers.
I will not be using e-transfer for large amounts of money going forward.
And when e-transferring a large amount of money, Sims also recommends sending a small amount first. If it's accepted without any issues, you can feel more confident about sending the rest. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
For many people, we're starting the work week, midweek, and the weather's cooperating quite nicely.
I know. What day is it? Okay, it's Wednesday, right? And yeah, we've got that summer heat. It's on, and yes, we're talking about the potential for stormy conditions, but I personally haven't seen it. What are you seeing?
Yeah, so some eastern sections of downtown got some sprinkles of rain earlier today. We have just seen a severe thunderstorm watch come to an end for the Uxbridge area, so that's good news. But yeah, it's been a little bit active in parts of the GTA today, sections of Durham region. I know you had some thunder and lightning not long ago. We'll bring you up to date on the satellite and radar in just a moment. But first, I want to talk about the heat, and not necessarily the heat here at home. Take a look at this. It's been scorching in parts of Europe the last several days. The Eiffel Tower was closed at one point, the top of it anyway, to tourists because it was just too hot. Records being broken from Morocco to the UK. It was a cooler day across parts of the United Kingdom today, and we're starting to see some relief around Paris for tomorrow, for example. But that heat, this heat dome, continues to very much impact countries like Italy and Spain, and it's drifting into Germany for tomorrow too. So just a little bit of water cooler conversation if you're talking about the weather, not just here at home, but across the pond, where it is very much feeling like summer heat right now. And it's similar here, not quite the same, but it is hot today in Toronto. We made it to a high of 31 degrees. It felt like the mid-30s. Tomorrow is going to be a little less humid. Temperature still in the upper 20s. 18 is what we're forecasting overnight tonight. Teen temperatures just about everywhere, except for Niagara Falls. You two are once again looking at an overnight low around 20 degrees. And then here's tomorrow at a glance. So we do have a chance of showers in the morning. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. But midday, afternoon, and your Thursday evening, it's looking pretty nice. We are going to experience winds coming out of the north northwest this time, so that will usher in a little bit of cooler air. So 28 degrees, still going to feel like 32, but it's not going to feel like 35 or 36 like it did in some areas today. A little snapshot of temperatures around the region for tomorrow. Highs anywhere from about 25 to about 28 degrees. Again, feeling warmer than that. It's going to feel like 31 at the height of the day for us. And a little bit of heat and humidity today helping fuel some of these storms that we mentioned. There's that cluster that impacted parts of Durham region, parts of York region too. Now just starting to see the thunder and lightning move over Lake Ontario, so less impactful. But I know Cobourg, you were recently just clipped, and there's the showers that impacted some parts of downtown Toronto. Again, those severe thunderstorm watches have come to an end. We're still tracking some thunderstorms across Lake Huron, and there is a pretty widespread severe thunderstorm watch in place from Windsor over toward London, just in case you're going to be in that part of the province tonight. As we make our way into tomorrow, we see potential for some cloud cover around the GTA early on, maybe some spotty showers. Any thunderstorm activity is more likely to be in eastern sections of Ontario tomorrow, around Kingston, for example. We're looking at a mostly dry day, mainly sunny, warm but not as humid, and then Friday is going to be sunny and seasonal. It does give us a little bit of a break from the humidity too. 26 degrees will feel like 29 that day. Don't get too used to that, because into the weekend, we once again see highs in the 30s, and this time it's going to feel closer to 40. Going to watch overnight Saturday and into Sunday for perhaps a few showers, and there's potential heading into the early part of next week too for some wet weather. But overall, generally speaking, this is a pretty dry 7-day forecast, so make sure you're taking care of your lawn and the flowers in your garden. That's the weather for now. Michelle, back to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Also tonight, an invisible threat. A new Canadian study reveals a link between air pollution and early signs of heart damage. The findings and what you can do about it. Just a
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Poor air quality worsened by Canadian wildfires is having an effect not just on our breathing, but also our hearts.
Our health reporter Pauline Chan has a look at new research.
Researchers from the University Health Network were looking at particles known as PM 2.5, particulate matter that is 2.5 micrometers or less in the air.
They actually can cross over into the bloodstream. And of course, the bloodstream then, goes to the heart.
The researchers used MRIs to study how long-term air pollution from wildfires, as well as other sources like cars and industry, affect the heart.
The link or the association between long-term air pollution exposure and scarring in the heart. Scarring, just like you might get if you cut your arm. If you have an injury to part of your body, like the heart muscle, it can heal with scarring. And that can lead to downstream problems, including heart failure.
The postal codes of the 694 participants were used to determine their level of PM 2.5 exposures.
This shows that if you are exposed to more air pollution, even at the relatively low levels that we experience within Ontario currently, you are at higher risk of having a little bit more fibrosis in the heart.
Dr. Kate Hanneman says the effects are subtle.
What we found was women, those who had a history of smoking, and those who had hypertension had the highest risk.
People in the high-risk groups and those with existing heart problems should pay closer attention to air quality levels and avoid staying outside when the pollution is high. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Live Nation says it's making adjustments at Rogers Stadium in response to complaints about crowding following the inaugural show at the new outdoor venue. Live Nation Canada says it's incorporating fan and community feedback and also working closely with city officials, transit operators, and emergency services to address the concerns. The company says it is aware fans felt their seats move in the upper grandstands during the Stray Kids concert on Sunday night, but that it is expected as part of the design of the venue, which, quote, exceeds international safety codes.
Jennifer Aniston will star in a new series based on the memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died. The series will stream on Apple TV+. According to the streamer, the dramedy will recount former child star Jeanette McCurdy's struggles dealing with her mother, which will be played by Aniston. McCurdy starred in the Nickelodeon sitcom iCarly. She's set to write, produce, and showrun the new series. Aniston will serve as the executive producer.
Netflix says the third and final season of the popular series Squid Games has smashed new records.
잠시 후 게임을 시작하겠습니다.
Company says it got more than 60 million views in its first 3 days of streaming, making it the biggest TV show launch ever for Netflix. And while the Korean thriller may have wrapped up, it seems the Squid Games universe could still continue, with rumors an American spin-off is in the works.
After the break, it's official. Ice hockey returns to the Olympics for the first time in 12 years, with the NHL's best players shooting for gold. Details coming up.
Usually we're pretty calm in this area and, we're filled with a lot of nice restaurants.
Updating our top stories, police were investigating after shots were fired at a popular restaurant on Davenport late last night. It was closed at the time. No one was hurt. At this point, there's no indication of a motive. Police are on the hunt for video of a man wearing a black sweater with white writing and a black Mercedes sedan.
It's a little sad. You have your expectation of coming to the water, bringing the kids to the water, and then you can't.
Disappointment for swimmers at Marie Curtis Park in Etobicoke. They were advised to stay on the beach because of water quality issues. Recent heavy rains have caused E. coli levels to increase. 9 of Toronto's 11 beaches are marked safe for swimming, with Sunnyside being upgraded this afternoon.
I feel great. It feels good. I always wanted to become an officer.
Local high school students were welcomed today as members of the Youth in Policing Initiative program. They will work at various police units and divisions this summer, gathering experience as many work toward a career in law enforcement. The students range in age from 15 to 18 and represent 31 neighborhoods throughout the city.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos, or video breaking news, let us know.
Shares of Bombardier are taking off today after the Canadian aerospace company announced a multi-billion-dollar sale. BNN Bloomberg's Morella Fernandez has the details in the day's other business headlines.
Shares shot up more than 20% after the deal was made public, making Bombardier the biggest mover on the TSX today. Bombardier stock was boosted by a new order for 50 of its Challenger and Global jets. The deal includes servicing the aircraft, making it worth $1.7 million U.S. The Canadian jet maker isn't identifying the first-time buyer. Microsoft is laying off about 9,000 employees. It's the second massive cut in months. The company says it's trying to streamline. The technology firm, like many of its peers, is investing deeply in artificial intelligence, and layoffs could be an attempt to cut costs. Del Monte, the canned fruit and vegetable company, is seeking bankruptcy protection. The company is carrying about $1.2 billion of debt. Del Monte has been around for 138 years, but says demand for its products has been dropping as consumers look for healthier or cheaper options. The major North American markets had record closes again today, but let's start with the Canadian dollar. It's up, hitting 73.61. West Texas Intermediate is up close to $2 to 67.38. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it down to 53.44. And the TSX only moved 12 points, but it was another record close, finishing the trading day at 26,869. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
A big game tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays. With a win, they can move into a tie with New York atop the American League East.
And a high fly ball to left center field. It's going, and it is gone!
George Springer thrilled the home crowd on Canada Day with a grand slam that gave the Jays a 5-run lead. They went on to win 12-5. Toronto's won 3 games in a row, including 2 against the Yankees, who lead the division. Jose Barrios will start for the Jays, while New York counters with Will Warren.
Meanwhile, a former Blue Jay is calling it a career. Kevin Pillar announcing his retirement today after 13 seasons in Major League Baseball. The center fielder spent 7 years in Toronto from 2013 to 2019. Pillar had 44 homers, 231 RBIs, but is perhaps best known for his highlight reel catches that earned him the nickname Superman. He went on to play for a number of other teams, including the Giants, the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Rangers.
Mitch Marner has arrived in Las Vegas. The former Leaf was officially introduced by the Golden Knights yesterday. He spoke about joining his new team and his time with the Blue and White.
You know, last year in Toronto, or 2 years ago, really kind of, you know, stuff, you know, we didn't win, obviously. We didn't do what we wanted to do. Stuff started kind of going, you know, a little north, a little south. We didn't know what was going to happen. A lot of trade rumors all last summer. Didn't know what was going to happen in that regard either. And, you know, as soon as the year started up, you know, we were ready to commit and play hockey and, you know, see what would happen. But, you know, at the same time, we're willing to take it to the distance and, you know, kind of told Toronto that that was our plan. And, you know, I was so grateful to play there for 9 years. I said it at my end of the year interview there that I took a risky pick on a small kid from Toronto that, you know, was forever grateful to be able to wear a Maple Leaf jersey and forever to be able to play in front of, you know, some of the greats that ever wore that jersey. But you know, just now as being a family man, a father, you know, we thought our time was, you know, ready to look somewhere else and find a new home and find a new place to grow our family. And like I said, I'm so grateful to be here and so happy to be a part of this team.
Marner says he thought about going to free agency, but Vegas is the place he wanted to go. He pointed to the team's winning culture since entering the league and how other factors off the ice are a good fit for him and his family, such as tight-knit communities, privacy, and schooling. Marner will wear number 93 in tribute to one of his favorite all-time Leafs, Doug Gilmour.
Marner's former team signed another free agent today.
Lindgren gets into the trapezoid to play it for Washington. It bounces into the slot. Lettieri! He scores!
The Leafs are bringing in Vinny Lettieri on a one-year contract worth $775,000. The 30-year-old forward from Minnesota has 15 goals and 17 assists in 155 career NHL games. He's played for Boston, Anaheim, Minnesota, and the New York Rangers. Toronto signed 3 other forwards and a defenseman yesterday.
And hockey is officially returning to the Olympics. The NHL, NHLPA, International Ice Hockey Federation, and International Olympic Committee agreed to a deal that will see the best hockey players in the world compete at the 2026 Winter Games in Italy. It marks the first time since 2014 that NHL players will compete in the Olympics. The deal also paves the way for participation at the Olympics in 2030.
There are reports a Canadian soccer star is joining one of the world's most famous teams.
Lovely little ball through. It's Jonathan David! What a stroke!
Jonathan David appears to be heading to Juventus. The all-time leading scorer for Canada is due to travel to Turin to undergo a medical before officially signing with the historic club. Juventus has won a record 36 Italian league titles.
Veteran sports broadcaster and TSN hockey insider Bob McKenzie has called it a career.
And I'm trading my semi-retired life of doing the World Juniors, draft rankings for Leaf games, free agent frenzy, trade deadline for absolutely nothing. Well, nothing in terms of real work because today is my retirement day.
McKenzie announced his retirement during TSN's annual Free Agent Frenzy show. He joined the network in 1987 and has been one of the top insiders in hockey circles for years. The 68-year-old has also won numerous awards and was gifted with a silver stick to recognize his longevity and excellence in sports coverage. Just ahead, exploring a hot downtown destination this summer. Fresh deals on local eats surrounded by community and culture. We check out what's on tap at Stacked Market. There's a new way to enjoy summer eats and support local.
Stacked Market's new summer series is offering affordable meals and entertainment in the months ahead. CTV's Jessica Smith reports.
A new summer series at Stacked Market on Bathurst Street is all about sweet eats.
It's essentially a 12-week summer series at Stacked Market, highlighting some of our kitchen and food and beverage partners, but also being very intentional with programming, bringing forth some entertainment, some engagement opportunities.
The Lunch and Local program is a low-cost initiative every Wednesday that lets people indulge in locally owned and operated restaurants like Sunday's Pasta Lab.
We have 2 $10 items daily
I don't think there's much in the city that you can find for $10, especially a homemade pasta with homemade sauce and fresh ingredients.
The market is free to attend, and throughout the summer will feature free performances and activations.
For us, we're always thinking about the community, how to draw them in, how to keep them engaged.
Giving residents and anyone visiting this city a barrier-free opportunity to support local.
It's amazing. This is our second time doing it here, and the food has been phenomenal. We enjoyed it, and I recommend it to everybody.
We just love supporting like little businesses in Toronto, and I feel like Stacked is always having different vendors and different restaurants, so it's really fun to come out and see what they have. And
the Lunch and Local program runs all the way through until mid-September. For more information on all the activations, you can follow them on social media at Stacked Market or visit them on their website, stackedmarket.com. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
Another great thing to do.
So much to do in the city, and there's nothing like eating outside in the summer, and you could definitely do that right now.
Yeah, the weather's cooperating a little better now in the GTA than it was even an hour ago. We'll take one more look at the satellite and radar. We're tracking a few storms over Lake Huron this time, so watching for that. Waking up tomorrow morning, chance of a little bit of cloud, chance of a shower. The afternoon, though, is going to be warm and mainly sunny. There's one more look at the 7-day forecast. Michelle and Nathan.
Keep the sun coming. Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but you can join Omar Setudina at 11 tonight for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with their next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here, thanks for watching and have a great night.